All right, so when it comes to dry January, I think I may have made a big mistake. I'll explain coming up on this brew review. And welcome back to the Beer Garden on a brisk dry January day in front of the fireless pit. And if you're here because you like beer, and let's be honest, why else would you be here? Please tap that subscribe button down below because I have low self-esteem and it really helps the algorithm. Hey, also, while you're watching this, please let me know what town and state or town and country you are watching from. I love seeing where all my viewers are watching from. Shout out going to Batavia, New York, Winder, Georgia, not too far from me, Walhalla, South Carolina, Twin Falls, Idaho, and Belfast, Northern Ireland, rounding out the international part of our brew review. Of course, we'll be drinking out of our sold out for 2024 green label Beer Snob's Cheap Brew Review pint glass, only to be complemented by the green leather patch painted trucker cap, Richardson's trucker cap. Thank you guys for inquiring about the wait list for the merch. And by overwhelming demand, I got myself some hands on Athletic Brewing Company's Run Wild IPA. Now, I mentioned that I may have gotten this dry January thing all wrong. The first two beers I reviewed for dry January were just god awful. Check out my reviews of Coors Edge and also Busch NA. Also, so far for dry January, I did Guinness Zero. Check out my review for that. And it really started with Guinness Zero. My whole idea of dry January started to change. I'll explain more in just a minute. And this non-alcohol brew, Run Wild IPA, Athletic Brewing Company, I've never had Athletic before. I've seen it. I just thought it was a regular brewing company. Did a little bit of research, meaning I Googled them and then read the can. They are a couple of guys who are athletes, and they didn't like the effects of alcohol or long-term drinking as athletes. Kind of slowed them down a little bit, and that really kind of spoke to me because I'm a 9-time marathon finisher. I've been an athlete all my life, but ever since COVID and I started doing these brew reviews, I started putting on some pounds, and I realized I'd be getting a little sluggish, getting a little foggy from all the brews and alcohol I've been drinking, and here we are in dry January. So I figured I'd give dry January a run and see how we're doing. Still doing good. We're halfway through, regardless of the time of the year you're watching this video. And these guys are really all about making a good craft brew with no alcohol so you can be your best and drink the best. I was like, I'm kind of curious to see how this works. And really the other brews that we've had in the NA brew reviews for dry January said malt beverage. They have some natural flavoring added to it, just some weird stuff. This from Athletic Brewing Company, this is the first one that actually states that they brew it with stuff that is in actual beer: hops, yeast, oats, barley. So I'm really curious, as I shouldn't be shaking the can up this much, of how this is really gonna taste. 0% alcohol, of course. Some of you are barking at me in the comments that, 0% alcohol, there's at least, there could be like a 0.5% of alcohol. All right, you know the deal. So let's go ahead and pop the top on this Athletic Brewing Company Run Wild IPA, one of their big sellers, so I figured that we'd go with the IPA. Nice crisp opening. As I said, we're pouring into the green label for 2024 sold out a Beer Snob's Cheap Brew Review pint glass on this crisp day. Again, as we're pouring, town and state, town and country where you're watching from, I genuinely really enjoy seeing these brew reviews going all over the world. Right, I'm encouraged by the color. All right, pouring aggressively down the middle to release all those gases and ethers and whatever that makes you bloated. I've started doing that recently, if you've caught some of my brew reviews, and don't get bloated. I'm not belching as much. Some of you enjoyed watching my older videos and brew reviews because I burp a lot, but Athletic Brewing Company, 65 calories, so even less than a soda. And hopefully if this tastes as advertised, I may be onto something new here. Time for the nose, shall we? And let me know what you're drinking as you're watching this brew review down below and where you are watching from. Time for the nose. I'm getting a little bit of a citrus. Kind of a lemon. Well, that would be citrus, but specifically a lemon. It smells crisp. It smells fresh. Some of those other ones, like the Busch NA and the Coors Edge, it smelled like a foot. The Guinness smelled quite like a Guinness. Again, I don't want to give away the entire brew review. Please go back and watch those. Some of you are hammering me for trying the NA beers during dry January, and said, "What's happened to this channel? He's back to the NAs now." And up to this point, before I had the Guinness, some of those non-alcoholic brews I was trying really tasted just slightly off. I said they're like zombie beers. You can tell they moved like a zombie. It looked like something that was alive, but it was really dead inside. And to be honest, some of those non-alcoholic brews taste like beers from Aldi. You know, they taste like a beer, but just kind of a little off. I got a playlist on beers from Aldi. Check that out on the brew review. All right, the head has settled. My very first diving into Athletic Brewing Company. This one, the Run Wild IPA. All right. Time for the liquid to hit the lips, and here in the Brew Review Beer Garden, you never drink alone. So let's go. Cheers. Dry January. There's the lacing. Lacing is the foam, the suds, the head that sticks to the inside of the glass. I've said before, and people still ask, what is lacing? You're talking about lacing. I'm new to beer drinking. Lacing is indicative of some sort of quality in the brewing process. If you drink your beer and there's absolutely no lacing on it, it's probably a cheap beer. If you're drinking beer and you have this on the inside, that's lacing, and that's indicative of some quality ingredients. So, you're doing pretty good on that. Athletic Brewing Company, 0% alcohol, Run Wild IPA. IPA. Wow. That tastes like a beer. I'm encouraged. You get that nice slight citrus. It's not heavy at all. It almost tastes kind of like a light beer, but there's a lot of flavor in there, and it's all good flavor. I don't have that hollow, empty zombie, sort of a metallic type of a cheap beer taste at all. And this wasn't really cheap. 6-pack, $9.99 at my package store. And that's one of my biggest bents on these NA beers. They're the same price as regular beer. Why? They got no alcohol in them. Anyway, thank you for suggesting, hold up the can, they say, Athletic Brewing Company. Again, I'd seen this on the shelf, just thought it was another brewery, didn't know the whole non-alcohol thing behind it, and didn't know that they specifically focus on quality craft and try to make it as a true beer just with no alcohol. And I can taste it. Really, this is outstanding. Out of 5 stars, coming up in just a second, I'm going to rate this out of 5 stars. How good a non-alcoholic brew is it? And again, if you haven't told me town and state, town and country where you're viewing from, please do. I had never tasted this beer before. No real preconceived ideas going into it other than just you suggested it. Out of 5 stars, Athletic Brewing Company's Run Wild IPA. I can't really discern anything wrong with it. It tastes like a proper beer. Out of 5 stars, 4.99 out of 5 stars for an NA beer. Well done, Athletic Brewing Company. Wow. Let me know what you think about Athletic Brewing Company, or do you have a good NA beer you want me to try? Only a few weeks and few days left in dry January, thank goodness. But if they're brews like this, I don't know if I'll be going back. Well, thank you for your view, sub, and support on this. Remember, check out my over 200 brew reviews on this channel, so please subscribe as well. And it's a beautiful day here in the beer garden in front of the fireless pit right there for dry January. And hey, grab yourself a beer. You drink that beer. Cheers. I'll see you in the next brew review.